You know that feeling, don't you? That nagging sense of being constantly pulled in a dozen directions, always on, endlessly scrolling, jumping from one notification to the next. Our attention feels like it's been shattered into 1,000 tiny pieces, always under siege. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're embarking on a crucial mission to understand why our focus feels so incredibly fragile, and maybe more importantly, how we can reclaim and protect it. We've pulled together an incredible stack of sources that will take us from the intricate science of our brains to really practical daily habits that can truly transform your relationship with your own attention.
And what's striking right from the start is how much this has changed. Historically, a shortage of attention wasn't really a human problem. But the research we've explored paints a clear picture. The very technology designed to save us time has paradoxically created this, well, unlimited supply of information, leading to a profound shortage of attention. One of our authors aptly calls it a technological tsunami, where, simply put, attention is the new currency.
A technological tsunami. Wow, that's a powerful image. And it really sets the stage for our first big question. Why are we so distracted in the first place? Our sources introduce us to this idea of ourselves as strings creatures, now seemingly drowning in a continuous shower of irrelevant inputs. It's almost like our minds just weren't built for this digital deluge.
You're hitting on a fundamental truth there. The human brain has an astonishing processing bottleneck. Think about this. You take in something like 11 million bits of data per second through your senses with your conscious mind. It can only process about 40 bits of that.
40 out of 11 million.
Exactly. And even more striking, you can only hold maybe 4 bits in your working memory at any given time. This massive mismatch, as our material points out, means information feeds on attention. The more information there is, the less attention is available to truly process it. It's a fundamental biological limit, meaning, well, an infinite digital stream.
That mismatch makes so much sense. And our sources really bring this to life with some incredibly vivid analogies. They describe our attention as like an anglerfish's fading light, just a tiny beacon in a vast, dark ocean of information, desperately trying to catch what's vital. And modern technology. One piece of research calls it a dangerous guest, like the hedgehog in the old fable that has entered our lives and is now proving almost impossible to evict. It started as a utility, and now it feels like, well, an indispensable part of our existence.
It's fascinating how these analogies connect to a broader systemic issue that goes beyond individual habits.
Yeah.
This dangerous guest has really ushered in what's often termed surveillance capitalism. Our sources highlight that genuinely intelligent people in Silicon Valley have discovered the immense quantifiable value of our attention. They've built entire business models around meticulously creating detailed profiles from our data, then offering variable rewards and these small packets of entertainment, those addictive notifications and endless feeds that expertly excite our primitive instincts.
Variable rewards, like a slot machine.
Pretty much. And the insidious part, this entire system often fosters what's called cruel optimism, where the problem of distraction is attributed to your personal failure to resist, rather than these powerful systemic forces designed to capture your focus.
That's a really important distinction,
Yeah.
shifting the blame from the individual to the system. And this constant urge for more, this acquisition cycle, even in the digital realm, ties into a concept our sources call the Diderot effect. Can you explain what that is and how it keeps us chasing after new digital distractions?
Absolutely. The Diderot effect basically describes how acquiring one new possession can spark an almost irresistible urge for more, leading to a cascade of acquisitions. Think about it. You get a new smartphone, and suddenly you feel the pull for smart headphones, a smart watch, maybe even a smart home device.
Right, they all work together.
Exactly. All designed to integrate and, of course, vie for your precious attention. It's not just physical items. It's new digital apps, services, and gadgets that further fragment your focus, constantly creating new needs you didn't even know you had.
It's like a never-ending upgrade cycle for our distractions. This all raises a crucial question, though. Why do we seek these distractions so readily, especially when we know they're not always good for us? Our sources suggest it's often an escape from myself, an effort to avoid discomfort, boredom, or those nagging, unresolved problems.
Indeed. We've become almost like descendants of the mythological god Tantalus, forever searching, reaching, but never quite satisfied, largely due to something called hedonic adaptation.
Hedonic adaptation.
Yeah, we quickly adapt to good feelings, to new stimuli, and then almost immediately we're seeking more. This inability to handle discomfort, this constant chase, is described as a basic layer of our failing. and it's expertly exploited by our inherent novelty bias, our attraction to new stimuli, and our negativity bias, which makes us jump to negative stimuli like loud sounds or warnings. Those quick dopamine hits become a comfortable, albeit ultimately unfulfilling, default setting.
So we're kind of hardwired to seek novelty and avoid discomfort, and the system is perfectly designed to provide it on tap. Okay, let's really unpack this idea of attention itself. Our sources make a crucial distinction, saying attention is not the same as focus, it is its big brother.
Mhm.
So if attention is the general glow, how do our sources clarify focus as the directed beam? And why is understanding that distinction so important?
That's a vital point. They define focus as attention with a certain control over it, a concentration of mental effort on a certain specific aspect of available information.
Mm.
It's the difference between being generally aware of a room and, zeroing in on a specific conversation. And once we grasp that, we can start to classify these different aspects. We talk about the direction of attention. Is it inward, focusing on your thoughts and emotions, or outward on external stimuli? Yep. Then there's the processing. Top-down attention is voluntary, effortful, driven by your prefrontal cortex, like when you're hopefully deeply engrossed in this deep dive right now. Bottom-up attention is fast, automatic, governed by your more primitive reptile brain, like how your name can suddenly pierce the chatter at a cocktail party, instantly grabbing your attention even if you weren't actively listening.
Ah, the cocktail party effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our sources also introduce Johann Hari's model, breaking attention into 4 types. There's spotlight for a single task, starlight for those overarching long-term goals, daylight for self-awareness, and stadium light for collective goals. The profound insight here, for you, is recognizing that attention isn't just one single monolithic thing. By understanding these distinct modes, you can deliberately choose and train the right kind of attention for different parts of your life, rather than just hoping focus magically appears.
That's brilliant, thinking of it as different types of lights you can choose to shine. But even with conscious effort, our attention can be incredibly fragile and has some surprising blind spots, can't it? It's not as robust as we might assume.
You're absolutely right. Our sources highlight some really striking phenomena that prove just how easily our attention can be fooled. There's change blindness, where people fail to notice obvious changes in their environment, like that famous experiment where a person getting directions is swapped mid-conversation, and like half the people don't even notice.
No way.
Yeah. Then there's inattention blindness, meaning you can miss incredibly obvious things when you're highly focused on something else, like a gorilla dancing in the background of a video while you're counting basketball passes.
The gorilla? Yes, I've seen that one. It's amazing.
It is. Repetition blindness makes us miss repeated stimuli. And the Stroop effect, where you try to name the color of ink a word is written in, but the word itself is a different color name, demonstrates how irrelevant stimuli can significantly reduce performance. Even optical illusions, like Muller's lines, show us that our brain actively interprets reality, sometimes inaccurately, rather than just passively observing it. Our attention is a powerful filter, but it also creates gaps.
Wow, those examples really highlight how much we don't see. So given all these limitations, what's the real cost of this constant distraction, this jumping between tasks? We often think multitasking saves us time, but our sources reveal a pretty shocking truth about the real cost, don't they? This idea of attention residue and switching cost really opened my eyes.
It's a critical point, and the research is, well, pretty stark. Our sources talk about attention residue, that lingering mental baggage from a previous task, and the high switching cost it incurs. Get this. It takes an average of 23 minutes to return to the same level of concentration after a distraction.
23 minutes. That's truly astonishing.
It is. Think about that. Multitasking doesn't save time. It actually reduces performance, increases errors, and directly hinders creativity.
23 minutes. I know I've personally experienced that frustrating brain fog trying to get back to a task after just a quick notification. It really puts those quick checks into perspective, doesn't it? It's not just a few seconds lost. It's almost half an hour of productive time gone. And speaking of value, this leads to a really profound perspective from our sources. Our attention isn't free. It's a direct exchange of our life energy or life force.
Exactly. Consider the lessons from individuals like Henry Thoreau, who lived so intentionally, meticulously valuing his life force and focusing it only on what truly mattered to him, even revising his natural history works on his deathbed. Or Joseph Dominguez, who managed to retire at 31 by deeply valuing his time and realizing that our hourly wage rate needs to account for all the time devoted to work, not just the hours in the office. Travel, preparation, decompressing, all of it. Both demonstrate a profound principle. We should put a value on our time and give it to valuable things only. It's about being selective and intentional with our most precious, non-renewable asset.
Such a powerful reframe. So, if technology is this hedgehog that has invaded our lives and is constantly demanding our life energy, how do we tame it? How do we start to reclaim and cultivate that precious focus?
Okay, so our sources offer several actionable strategies. First, the concept of digital decluttering, popularized by Cal Newport. It's much more than just a detox. It's a mindful audit of all your technology. You eliminate the not essential, then, and this is key, find worthy replacements.
What would be replacements?
Yeah, active hobbies like crafts, gardening, engaging with nature, learning a musical instrument, things that offer genuine, deep fulfillment rather than just fleeting digital stimulation. Then, for fighting your phone, practical tips abound. Keeping it away, like physically in another room, not using it as an alarm. Making it ugly by switching to grayscale mode to reduce novelty.
Oh, I've heard of that one, grayscale.
It works, making it useless by deleting tempting apps or logging out of social media, strangling the throat by muting all but the most essential notifications and actively avoiding it during those boring gaps, like waiting in line or in an elevator.
Those little moments add up, don't they?
They really do. And when it comes to escaping internet and email, the advice is clear. Disable notifications, set fixed times for checking and responding, maybe use separate private and public email accounts, and ruthlessly unsubscribe from unnecessary newsletters. Be brutal.
It sounds like we need to build some serious boundaries. But beyond taming those external distractions, a huge part of this battle for attention is fought inside our own heads right here. How do we cultivate focus from within ourselves?
This is where embracing solitude, not loneliness, becomes paramount. Our sources define it as voluntary, fulfilling time for self-reflection that genuinely nurtures focus. You don't need to go to a remote island. You can practice micro-solitudes during a tea break, a short walk without headphones, or even just 5 minutes looking out a window.
Micro-solitudes, I like that.
Yeah, and crucially, research indicates that boredom always precedes periods of great creativity, encouraging what's called productive mind wandering. It's when your mind is seemingly unstimulated that it begins to make new connections, revealing insights your conscious, constantly distracted self might never stumble upon.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, allowing our minds the space to wander productively. And when it comes to acting on impulses, whether they're healthy or unhealthy, our sources offer some interesting rules of thumb. We hear about the 10-minute rule for unhealthy urges, basically, waiting 10 minutes before acting, contrasting it with the 5-second rule for decisive action on productive tasks.
It's about leveraging those small windows of time and impulse. The 10-minute rule gives your prefrontal cortex, your rational brain, time to catch up with the initial craving, letting it potentially subside before you act. Conversely, the 5-second rule, popularized by Mel Robbins, is about overriding that instant hesitation, that voice saying, maybe later, and acting quickly on good impulses before your brain talks you out of it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Knowing which impulse to pause and which to propel forward, that seems key. Okay, how can we bring this kind of intentional focus into our work lives? I know many of us listening are constantly battling meeting requests, overflowing inboxes, just chaos.
This is where deep work, as advocated by Cal Newport, is so essential. It calls for sustained, distraction-free concentration on a single, cognitively demanding task to push your mental abilities to their limits and create real value. Our sources also share incredibly effective time management techniques. There's the classic Eisenhower box for prioritizing tasks by urgency and importance. Is it urgent? Is it important?
Right, the 4 quadrants.
Exactly. Then there's the Ivy Lee method. Super simple. At the end of each day, write down the 6 most crucial tasks for tomorrow, prioritize them, and then focus only on those, one at a time. And maybe the most intense, Warren Buffett's 2 lists. Write down 25 career goals, circle the 5 most important, and then explicitly discard the other 20. Avoid them like the plague until the top 5 are done.
Wow, discard 20. That's brutal, but I can see how effective that would be for focus.
It forces clarity. It ties in beautifully with advocating for slow work and cyclic work.
What do those concepts mean in practice?
It means adopting a more natural, unhurried pace, much like how nature operates, rather than constantly chasing frantic efficiency. This involves taking frequent breaks, like the popular Pomodoro technique of working in focused 20-25-minute cycles, followed by a short break, and crucially, adding buffers to projects. Don't schedule back-to-back. Our sources stress that this approach not only prevents burnout, but also significantly improves the quality of your output. It's about working smarter, sustainably, not just faster.
Working smarter, not just faster. That resonates.
And this commitment to doing less but better is really at the heart of minimalism applied to your time and attention. It's about reducing the sheer number of stimuli and commitments in your life to preserve your finite focus. This translates into learning to say no, firmly, gracefully, and often to the trivial many, so you can truly focus on the vital few.
Saying no is hard, though.
It is, but the deep insight here, highlighted in our material, isn't just that you should say no, but that every yes to something non-essential is a silent no to something potentially vital. It's a trade-off of your finite attention that we rarely acknowledge in the moment. And as one of our sources powerfully states, there are ultimately no solutions, only trade-offs when it comes to how you spend that precious resource.
No solutions, only trade-offs. That's a stark but powerful truth. So, okay, beyond the external noise and managing our time, what tools do we have to manage the internal world within our skull? Because, let's be honest, the noise inside our heads can be just as distracting, if not more so.
Precisely. Our sources bring in Hebb's law, the idea that neurons that fire together wire together. This highlights how repeated stimuli, thoughts, and behaviors literally rewire our brains, creating ingrained habits and memories, both good and bad.
So we build the pathways for distraction, essentially.
We can, yes. But the empowering news is that you have veto power over unhealthy responses to thoughts and emotions. You don't have to react automatically. Mindfulness is introduced as a key practice. Non-judgmental observation of your thoughts and feelings as they arise. And emotional agility, a four-step process developed by Susan David, helps us navigate our inner world effectively. First, identify your core values. Second, recognize patterns in your emotional responses. Third, label your thoughts and emotions accurately. And fourth, accept them without judgment, and then act in alignment with your values rather than being controlled by fleeting feelings.
I love that idea of veto power, of choosing the response. And as simple, incredibly effective tools to return to the present moment our sources mention, well, this delightful image of Aldous Huxley's parrots on a utopian island, apparently trained to repeat, pay attention, here and now. And of course, the much more practical concept of a mindfulness bell, just a gentle sound, real or imagined, reminding you to pause, breathe, and simply observe your surroundings and your inner state.
Exactly. Simple anchors. Finally, we turn to two foundational pillars for a truly focused mind: sleep and reading. These aren't just nice-to-haves. They are absolutely essential, non-negotiable elements according to our research.
Okay, let's talk sleep.
Sleep solves most things, one source declares, and it's hard to argue with the science. They detail healthy shutdown rituals to prepare your body and mind for rest. And the 10-3-2-1 rule, that's 10 hours before bed, no caffeine, 3 hours, no heavy food or alcohol, 2 hours, no work, and 1 hour, no bright screens.
10-3-2-1. That's a great framework.
It really is. Sleep played a critical role in memory consolidation, sparking creativity by allowing different parts of the brain to communicate, and fundamentally restoring your attention. Without sufficient quality sleep, your focus simply becomes brittle and unreliable the next day.
So true. I definitely feel that difference. And reading, how does that fit in as a pillar?
Reading is described as a strong tonic for focus and, I love this phrase, a powerful exchange and storage of attention from authors who invested their own deep focus to create their works. It's almost like you're absorbing their concentrated attention by engaging deeply with the text.
That's a neat way to think about it.
Yeah. Our sources suggest practical tips for reading more effectively. Start small if you're out of the habit. Read multiple books simultaneously to keep things fresh. Take notes to engage actively. And even work on reducing subvocalization, that inner voice reading along, if you want to increase speed and comprehension. It's a direct way to build that mental muscle of sustained focus.
Okay, so we've covered taming technology, inner focus, time management, sleep, reading. Beyond these individual habits and techniques, how can we expand our conscious awareness and truly notice the world around us in a deeper way, sort of broadening the lens?
That's a great point. Our sources delve into the art of noticing, a concept explored by Rob Walker, and this fascinating idea of allocateplaxis, the deliberate cultivation of a feeling of fascination in the ordinary, everyday things we usually ignore.
Allocateplaxis, finding fascination in the mundane.
Exactly. It encourages you to become a flâneur, a purposeful wanderer, just observing without a specific goal. To notice the infantile, those subtle, transient after effects of events, like the warmth of a recently vacated seat, the faint scent lingering after someone passes, or the impression left in the grass. Using search images can also heighten your awareness, consciously deciding to look for something specific, like red cars or people smiling, which makes you pay closer attention. It's about actively engaging with the world instead of just passively skimming its surface. It's actively choosing to see.
The infrathin, that's such a beautiful concept for those fleeting details we usually miss entirely. Okay, finally, let's connect attention back to perhaps the most important area, our vital human relationships. Our divided attention, our constant glancing at screens, it has a profound impact on how we connect, or maybe fail to connect, with others, doesn't it?
Indeed, it's a crucial connection. Our sources introduce Schopenhauer's hedgehog's dilemma. You know the one. Hedgehogs need to huddle for warmth, but their quills prick each other if they get too close, so they'd find a proper distance.
Right.
Well, the argument is that our constantly divided attention, our inability to be fully present with people, acts like those needles. It causes subtle and sometimes not so subtle disrespect and distancing in our relationships, even with those we love most. The powerful message here is that respect can save us, and that respect manifests as giving our full body and mind attention to the person right in front of us. It's about being truly present, making them feel seen and heard, as if they are the most important person in the world in that moment.
That really hits home. And to starkly illustrate the dire consequences of a society that has lost its focus on genuine human connection and empathy, wow, our sources share the poignant, almost heartbreaking example of lonely deaths becoming more common, particularly noted in Japan, where people sometimes die alone and unnoticed, their absence only discovered weeks or months later. It's a chilling reminder of what's truly at stake when we allow our collective attention to become so fragmented that we fail to notice, to truly see the people around us. Okay. Today, we've gone on a really deep dive into the very fabric of our attention, from the subtle, almost invisible ways it's hijacked by external forces and our own internal biases, to some profound strategies for its reclamation. And listening to all this, it's clear this isn't just about becoming more productive, is it? It's about living a richer, more intentional, more connected life. It's obviously a continuous journey, not a destination, and it really starts with those small, conscious choices you make every single day.
Absolutely. And perhaps we can leave you with this provocative thought, rooted in a Haitian proverb referenced in our material. Beyond mountains are mountains. Problems, challenges, distractions, they will always emerge. So instead of solely chasing happy goals, those elusive, often external targets, maybe focus your attention on cultivating a happy path, finding presence and calm amidst the chaos. Think of Mount Fuji standing resolute amidst the chaos of Hokusai's great wave, or the calm eye of a hurricane surrounded by the storm. You have the power within you to create that space of calm, of focused presence. So remember, what you choose to give your attention to truly shapes your reality and the world around you. What will you choose to focus on next?